Alright, so before we get into this video, this is like after I've been through all of this, but I do apologize for the audio quality. I got a new mic, the Fifine like TM8T, I want to say it is, something like that, but I fixed the problem where it overcompensates for the desktop audio and doesn't compensate enough for the mic audio. So, but now it's overcompensating for the mic audio and not enough for the desktop audio. I wasn't really like aware of that whenever I was recording. And this was just a snippet from the stream today, earlier on today, which at the time of recording, time of stream was Friday, July 3rd, 2026. So, I just quick apology before you go and watch all of this. So, the audio from the video, it might be a little quiet, just forewarning. But appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for clicking on the video. Happy 4th of July. God bless America. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yeah, because oh shit, the space didn't work. But yeah, because chew with my mouth closed. Damn, I'm sorry. Oh my god. You just made me so self-conscious, bro. You're not wrong though. Okay, sorry about that. Nom 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 nom. No, you remember them old ass games that you could like, or kind of like GTA, where you have like a weapon wheel that didn't really exist. I noticed with Halo that existed, like that wasn't a concept in Halo, because you had your two weapons that you could pick up just around the map that anybody else could go and pick up. And then you had, I'm pretty sure in campaign and Halo 2 I'm playing through, I know both of those you could have 8 grenades, which was kind of wild, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, just blasting shit everywhere. Or not blasting, but it's more like blowing shit up like everywhere. But you didn't really have that in the older games. You had like a weapon wheel or some kind of thing like that. Yeah, Blastoise, like you just had cannons in your back pocket.
Outgunning them with a better class setup or a better loadout.
Mm-hmm.
Forged the first and arguably most vocal faction.
The most vocal faction. Remember,
the classic crowd.
Yeah.
The fans who fell in love with Halo's specific and deliberate combat rhythm. For them, Halo's an arena shooter at its core, a game of digital chess where the undisputed. Their frustration didn't just start with a single game. They began to bubble up throughout the original trilogy. Passionate debates over things like
Jesus, I hated them gold elites,
glitches, and weapon balance becoming early battlegrounds for the competition scene. In their eyes, Halo is a finely tuned instrument, and any change to
Hold on, wait. I do want to say something though, because they're not wrong. It is kind of like a chessboard, right? Like you have the different color what's it called? You have the different color elites, and they all like the AI smartness, or not, I wouldn't really say smartness. The strategic intelligence of the AI gradually got better with every rank that they would go up. Yeah. So a little rainbow of people. Yeah, but the strategic thought process behind the AIs, the farther you went up in the color, I think white was like at the top, because why wouldn't it be? But no, I remember the yellow ones in particular. Those are really tough because they always showed up on the ground, like super important ground installations in CE. They genuinely made it set up as it was a chessboard. You know, you have your pawns, which for the enemy was like things like jackals and then grunts, until Halo 2 came through and just fucked all that to hell. But the idea from CE going, like, because I played CE and then I'm playing through Halo 2, your grunts and your jackals would come up, they would provide shielding, and that would allow the rest of the field the enemy field to move forward. So you have to throw a grenade or something, or you have to waste one of your more important, items. Like grenades are really important for Halo because you can use them to maneuver the enemy or the enemy AI around. Like you can kind of position the enemy with those. It's not just, oh, all right, I'm gonna stick his ass with this one, like how I do with the sticky grenades all the time. But it is kind of like a chessboard. But moving on from the jackals and grunts and stuff, which are your pawns, you have every other fucking piece on the board is gonna be like either, aside from like rooks, right? Rooks are your fucking, these guys, your brutes, because they only know how to fucking like dodge out of the way or charge. Once their buddy gets dropped, like that little metal plate you see these guys have on their head, once that gets popped off and you hit them in their face areas, and then they die, they come in pairs. The second one is just gonna throw his gun out of the window and be like, you know what? Fuck you. Let's just start duking it out, right? He just starts running towards you, and it's just so easy to pop his helmet off with a headshot and then tap him again, and he just ragdolls. But the elites are the rest of the board pieces, like your bishops, your queens, your knights, especially the knights. That's the elites.
Is a bit jarring to
So it is kind of like chess in that sense.
customizable loadouts were not seen as innovations, but as a way to dilute the pure Halo formula. They tend to
And that's something that I hope that they get right with the new what's it, campaign evolved. They changed it. It's not combat evolved, it's campaign evolved. But I hope they get that right with the elites, right? The elites, everybody, well, except for the brute, and maybe the hunters, because the hunters are just, they're supposed to be tanky, right? They're supposed to be that way. But these guys, if you're shooting at them, if you throw a grenade or something, they have the artificial intelligence enough to dodge out of the way, to actually try to live, to try to survive. Like the AI works in tandem with one another as you're playing through the campaign. Or if I've seen some people on Forge on Halo 4, they had it set up to where they had it kind of like a Black Ops Zombies or like a Final Stand, like how you have in Reach. They didn't want that experience to end with those games, so they had built that in Forge. I don't know how they did it, but they did.
the series started chasing trends.
They probably modded it. Now that I think about it,
Other modern shooters that were absolutely dominating the market at the time. And in doing so, they felt that they lost the very essence of what made it so special. Simply, they want Halo to be Halo, not another shooter just wearing Master Chief's armor. To outsiders, this group can seem overly intense and downright militant at times.
This one is Halo 2. This gameplay, I just played through that mission. I didn't just play through it, but that one was the mission before the one I'm on.
Flame. And I think they're terrified of seeing it extinguished. Now, I remember getting an Xbox in 2001 with Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future. Split. They should come out with more Split games. Those are the shit.
Those sound cool. I haven't played them though.
Fucking rocks. If you know, you know. But we eventually got Halo Combat Evolved, and me and my mom and my dad, after dinner, would play Halo every single night. So, Halo is pretty involved with my memories as a child. The thing that does drive me nuts about the Golden Era folks, though, and the iconic people, is go back and play Halo.
Them things, the Forerunner,
Fucking rocks. I play
they don't have any hit points either, or
time. I
critical
play every single campaign
spots.
3 or 4 times a year. They're not taking Halo from you. The shit exists. You can go play the shit that you love. They should expand and make more types of Halo games. I loved the RTSs. I love the total conversion mods in other games. Halo and Squad fucking rocks. Halo and Arma fucking rocks. Halo and Contracts VR fucking rocks. Perfectly okay with there being more than just a...
Wait, it's in VR?
Don't want them to stop making that also. And this brings us to a game that kind of added us.
Dude, no fucking way. Hold on. Oh, that's not enter. Standalone VR title, but you can play the entire campaign of Halo Combat Evolved in virtual reality using a spectacular free fan-made PC VR mod. It features full 60. So they did, dude. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Yeah. I just called his shit. Yeah, he got humbled. Like,
purists were having right out in front on the game, and that was Halo Reach, which released in 2010. Reach was Bungie's dramatic
Chris Shawnee. Okay. He's a little goofy, but I like the passion.
Darker and more somber tone, not too dissimilar from Halo 3 ODST. And it was a deeply emotional campaign about the inevitable fall, and most controversially, a host of brand new gameplay mechanics. And for the classic crowd, those purists, it was kind of the definitive point of no return. The introduction of persistent loadouts, the controversial bloom mechanic that added random weapon spread, and the advent of armor.
To give clarification to what he's talking about right now is for the multiplayer. Is what he's talking about.
Abilities like armor lock and sprint were seen as fundamentally breaking the core gameplay loop. But for a whole new wave of players, many of whom were a lot younger, Reach was their very first entry point, and this was their Halo. And so the Reach loyalists were born.
Get out of here.
This group values what Reach brought to the table. They celebrated
no ads,
cinematic, character-driven story, and unprecedented levels of player customization. They don't just like Reach, they feel like they survived alongside Noble Team. The campaign's marketing, the Remember Reach tagline, and its tragic, heroic conclusion created a pretty powerful and lasting bond with the players. They'll defend armor abilities and the game's grittier art style with a passion that rivals any classic fan's defense of the original. They argue that abilities like jetpack and sprint added new strategic layers, while the extensive armor customization gave them a personal connection to their Spartan. The clash between the classic and the Reach crowds has pretty much defined Halo's discourse for more than a decade. The Reach fans often feeling unfairly blamed for changes that Bungie themselves introduced, and they'll argue that Halo can be more than just a competitive arena shooter. It can also be a dramatic and immersive and heart-wrenching war story. Personally, I loved Reach when it came out. I remember reading the Game Informer magazine, and I particularly remember being very excited about the needle rifle. I remember not minding sprint and armor abilities. I kind of just hated that sprint was an armor ability. Halo is also just full of amazing characters, and Noble Team really fits that bill. They are pretty much 90% of the characters you meet throughout that game, and everybody else is just kind of a subsidiary to them. And each member of Noble Team doesn't really get a crazy amount of screen time or interaction, but you get personal moments with every single one, and you are sad to see them go. There is a third and less vocal group, though, and that would be the modern crowd. After Bungie passed the torch to a new studio, 343 Industries, now Halo Studios.
Garbage Studios.
With them came a new era.
And that's why I say the OG classical crowd, like, that grew up with the original three games, they had it best. And they should be mad because they are ruining the game. It was pretty good back then.
For Halo, starting with Halo 4 in 2012. The franchise saw its most drastic and polarizing evolutions yet. Halo 4 fully integrated sprint as a baseline ability for the players, which I liked, as I mentioned, and they added ordnance drops that functioned kind of like kill streaks and introduced a much more personal, character-focused narrative. Now, Halo 4's art style is pretty divisive. It is a insanely good-looking game for an Xbox 360. My biggest gripe is honestly the Covenant. Like, the Forerunner shit's fine, whatever, I can deal with that. The Master Chief looks alright. Not my favorite armor, but it looks...
I hated these fuckers. The Knights, every time you corner them, right, and you start gunning them down, like you know you're about to win that engagement, they just teleport away. And it's like, what the fuck? Where did you even teleport to? Like, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna just teleport to my pocket dimension, regain all my health, and then teleport back. Behind you, by the way, so I can just one-shot your ass with the fucking Forerunner shotgun. That shit used to piss me the hell off. I hated the Forerunners. That's the one faction that, had they not added into the game, Halo would be doing perfectly fine right now.
Good still. But the Covenant look like ass, dude. I understand that they're not the Covenant. They're the Storm Covenant, a splinter faction. But why are they so fucking ugly? Beyond that, it's a pretty decent campaign, and they do a lot of cool shit with it. And the multiplayer, while not like a pure Halo experience, is actually pretty good. It's pretty fun. Feels good to play. There are some mods you can get that completely change the art style, and they make it a better game, honestly. It's a lot easier to look at. After Halo 4, they then released Halo 5 Guardians and went kind of all in on the movement, making unlimited sprint, thruster packs, ground pounds, and smart scope aiming, which kind of made all of that together a hyper fast and super vertical gameplay loop. This era is kind of like what really gave rise to that modern crowd.
But I like how they have Halo set up now to where it feels more militaristic. It feels like you're actually in, I don't know, you're actually a Marine or a Spartan down, boots on the ground, in the shit, knee deep with everybody else, right? Like it's not this elaborate chess game or something, or oh well he's just better. So, like sometimes in warfare, like right, like you had the Covenant, not these guys. I'm pretty sure these guys are like Swords of St. Helios right here. But you have the Covenant, which is this untold alien faction that is just eons in advancement of technology, in advancement of culture and everything else ahead of the human race. Like the reason why it's 3 factions and not 2, the reason why he said it's not like the classical and then the modern, the reason why he added in Halo Reach in there too, there's this guy at fucking work, right? I work with him, and I have to hear every single fucking day, oh my god, Noble 6 is so much better than Master Chief, the John 117. And it's like, nah, he's really not. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to burst your bubble. He's really not though. Let me know what you think. I gotta know what y'all think too. But I don't really see, like, I'm sorry, but I really don't see how what's his name, Noble 6 is stacking up to all the same stuff that John has. Because it's like, yeah, you can be the best whatever, but this man has all military knowledge for the past whatever the fuck amount of years that humanity has been alive up until that point, memorized. That's John 117's thing. He has it memorized. That was literally his schooling. Because he had a Flash clone replace him whenever he was a kid, and then he got drug off to boot camp, basically Spartan boot camp. Let me move my mic real quick. He got drug off to Spartan boot camp, where he was literally studying all of this shit. That's why whenever in Halo 4 they tried playing the whole like this Spartan lock dude is like, oh yeah, I'm a badass like hyper lethal Oni assassin. Like nobody was buying that shit because you can be whatever the fuck you want to be, but you just can't beat the Master Chief. Like he has all of the same shit that the Spartans 2 have. The Spartan 2s have. On top of that, he has the shit from like, well, I guess including the 343 studios, including their stuff that they added on. He also has all the stuff that the Forerunners gave to him. It's really hard to fucking beat him because he's cold, he's calculating. Like that's how his character was set up to be. It's hard to beat somebody like that, you know.
It is mostly made up of players who either joined with.
Oh, but the thing I was about to say about Reach though is because Reach wasn't just, you know, your character and then Marines. That's whenever you were knee deep into it, everybody around you dies, and it truly encapsulated just how emotional warfare can be. Like sometimes whenever you go into the heat of battle or something and you have your buddies to your left and your right, you know, unfortunately there have been those very unfortunate souls that had to live through that, watching their whole platoon get blown to bits, and they're the only ones left to tell the tale about it. You know,
or 3 games, or simply just more open-minded to the idea that a franchise must change with the times. They're generally a lot more accepting of these advanced movement mechanics, seeing them as almost necessary modernization to keep Halo feeling fresh and relevant in a crowded market. They often defend the new narrative decisions such as the focus on Cortana's rampancy and Master Chief's humanity, and
no, that shit was garbage.
more appreciative in the attempts to build a more complex and sprawling universe. Whether that be the Forerunner retcon from going from ancient humans to their own species, or the continuation of conflict through splinter factions such as the Storm Covenant or the Banished. Their core belief is mostly that Halo cannot survive by simply recreating the glories of 2007 forever. They argue that the franchise, to attract new players, will have to adapt, experiment, and sometimes even risk failure. They're the ones that patiently
That's such a lie.
can be kind of a trap, and refusal to change is a death sentence for any long-running series. However, this group carries a heavy
But I only say that's a lie because of whenever the Master Chief collection dropped. If you go back and you look at it, the retention rate of that game is one of the best ever in video game history, the Master Chief collection, and for good reason. It has a lot of like the game that literally put Xbox up there in the same argument with PlayStation. And I had to learn this because from a young age I didn't never play on PlayStation like that, but for PlayStation they had all the bangers. Xbox just had Halo. That's what kind of made you grow with Xbox, was because of Halo. Like, nobody wanted the Xbox. From my understanding, I didn't know what the fuck the difference was, but everybody wanted the Xbox. Why? Halo. That's why. So,
often finding themselves in the thankless position of defending Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Infinite to an extent. From a constant barrage of criticism rooted in nostalgia for a bygone era, they're tired of being told that their Halo, the one that they love, is the wrong one. So, why? Why do these 3 groups clash so hard and so relentlessly? It's not just about arguing over which game is best. The conflict is mostly sustained by something much deeper, a fundamental disagreement.
and then I also will say with the armor enhancements from Reach, there's a reason why he's outlining them as their own group, because I will fight this and I will die on this hill. But Reach fans, if you're a fan of the armor lockup and all of those different abilities, Sprint carried that entire game. Sprint carried that entire game. It didn't for me. It didn't really speed up or slow down the pacing, because seconds matter. A lot of people don't understand that. If you play like any kind of like paintball, airsoft, or some shit like that, seconds matter. I've literally watched. I got ready for this match, right? I'm in there. I'm in the field. We're playing like a defense kind of game, right? Seconds matter. Speed matters. And my M4 airsoft rifle, it's a AEG, so a electric one, not a gas blowback, so it doesn't have like the torque that the gas blowback rifles have. And I'm sitting there and I see this guy, he's poking his head out, and I'm firing in single round bursts, just saving ammo. And I'm looking, I fired 2 shots off. I thought I hit him. He has enough time between when I fired the shot to whenever the plastic BB gets there to duck his head back and then look back out at me. It got to a certain point. I was doing that for a minute straight, and he was just doing the same thing, just clowning on me, and he was like literally emoting as I'm trying to shoot him to get him out of the game. And that's whenever I understood that like seconds really matter. Like whenever you press a button and somebody dies, that matters, you know. So the sprint one, looking back at Reach, the sprint one for me really carried the entire game, because if you're stuck somewhere, just run behind cover. It's not oh, I have to hope and pray that I make it behind cover like how I'm doing in Halo 2 right now. It's no, I know for sure I'm gonna be safe because I can run and really expedite to get my ass behind this wall so I don't fucking die and I can actually progress the game instead of, hoping that the enemy misses their shots, because if you're playing on legendary difficulty, they're not missing. It's very few times they're missing their shots.
very identity. Each group believes with absolute sincerity that it is defending the real Halo. First and most importantly, they fundamentally disagree on what Halo is. Is it a balanced, skill-based arena shooter where everyone starts on a level playing field? Is it a gritty, emotional military sci-fi epic about heroism and sacrifice? Or is it a living, breathing franchise that must evolve with the industry and the audience to survive? They aren't just playing different games at this point, they're championing entirely different design philosophies. It's like three people arguing about the soul of a car, where one person is focused on the precision of the engine, and another on the story and the road trip that it enables, and the third on its ability to compete in a modern race. Their emotional attachments were forged in completely different fires. A player's first Halo often becomes their default Halo. It kind of sets the standard whether you started with an overwhelming mystery of the first Halo ring, the gut-wrenching tragedy of Reach, or modern high-speed saga of the Reclaimer.
What is this? Totalitarian colony sim?
That
I will say Halo is none of these things. It is what difficulty you play it on. That's what it is. If you play Halo on legendary difficulty, you will see that it's a lot like chess. If you play it on hard, you're just playing a challenging game. If you play it on normal, you're playing for just I don't know. You're playing a game franchise to support it. If you're playing on normal, if you're playing on easy, then you're just playing for the story, right? That's how I look at it. If you're playing on legendary difficulty, is because like you genuinely like the game, like you want to keep playing it, and you're you're a good player, like you love it, But I don't know. That's how I see it.
expectations for everything that follows. This is why so many arguments feel like people are talking past each other. They're debating from completely different starting points and with different emotional stakes. Over time, these eras became more than just games. They became symbols. The original trilogy for the golden era purists, Reach for emotional depth and customization, and the modern era for controversial but necessary adaptations. So, after all this time, is there any hope for peace? Can these three armies ever find common ground? The answer, surprisingly, might be found on Zeta Halo. Halo Infinite, for all of its struggles, was 343's most direct attempt to broker a peace treaty. It sought to be a bridge between the generations. The game blended a classic-inspired art style and sandbox, bringing back equipment and weapon pads, and with a little bit of modern movement.
And that's what I hate, because Infinite took away, without realizing what it was doing, Infinite took away the beauty of all three like eras, I guess. The modern era is the sandbox where you can kind of do whatever you want. I really fell in love with the Halo 5, where you open like a pack. They had this game mode where you could fight like a big, massive. You felt like you were in a military operation. You felt like it didn't matter if you were getting kills or if you were playing the objective. You couldn't win unless the objective was getting completed. Right. That's how I saw Battlefield as, until they started turning into just a big battle for or a big battle substitute for like Call of Duty, right? That's how it feels now. And then you had the Reach era, where it was you can. I didn't really play multiplayer for Reach. I'm sorry, but so I'm probably about to talk out of my ass, and I'm about to be ignorant on some things, but I'm just going off a feeling. But Reach, I feel like, was more of campaign focused. Like a lot of people like Forge and just messing around with stuff and things. So maybe a little bit of a sandbox, but they mainly played it for the story. Because I whenever I go on like TikTok or Instagram or what have you, I'll see people like constantly playing through like the last, the last fight where the objective is to survive, and they're timing themselves. Oh, how long can I survive for? They're constantly playing that last mission. And then the original, they play it as a strategic game, kind of like something like Valorant, or what's the other one, or like, oh, not Overwatch or Valorant. That's a stupid comparison, but they're playing it like it's almost like chess, but like a shooter version of chess, if that makes sense.
Though it dialed it back from Halo 5's hyper mechanics by making things like the thruster and equipment pickup instead of a default ability, at its launch, especially during the early test flights, there was a brief, beautiful moment of near unanimous praise, a feeling that the community might finally be united under one banner. And personally, I loved Halo Infinite. I still play it semi-regularly. Even the open world campaign I thought was pretty decent for what it was. But the peace was a little fragile, and the old divisions kind of remained, exacerbated by a lack of content, slow updates. While support for Infinite has certainly had its ups and downs, major updates like the return of Firefight and the overexpanding capabilities of its Forge mode have shown that there is still life in the game.
I will say that I did love the shift from whenever I played 007 GoldenEye to Halo, that I did love the feeling of not being, those games had you not really lonely. You weren't really alone, but it was very solitary in its gameplay. You're trapped in this corridor, just faced with it's very arcadey. It's a very arcadey. I did like the shift from that style of FPS to now. You not only do you have those scenes where you do have bottlenecks and you can get, stupid amounts of like multi kills and stuff like that. It shifted over to, okay, you're in an open field. How are you with your guns of choice? Yeah, right, your loadout. How are you with your guns of choice going to defeat a whole, not platoon? Well, yeah, sometimes it would be a platoon, right? Sometimes you would go up against entire companies of Covenant forces just to complete an objective, depending on the gameplay that you were, or not gameplay, depending on the difficulty that you were playing. Sometimes it would feel like, all right, cool, it's a military, and then you would also have forces on your side, like how I'm playing through Halo 2 right now, where I have I was playing through on the Arbiter when right before he gets sucked or kicked into that pit, and he's recovered by the hive mind, the flood hive mind, or the grave mind, whatever the hell it's called. um you did have allied forces on there, like not helping you, but that's a piece that you can manipulate to your advantage on the board. I do enjoy that shift.
Microcosm of this civil war, allowing players to meticulously recreate classic maps and modes and also build entirely new modern experiences. A digital armistice of sorts. The truth is, most Halo fans don't live exclusively in one camp. Many classic fans adore the story of Reach, and many modern fans still jump into the Master Chief Collection for a dose of nostalgia. The lines are far blurrier than the discourse would have you believe. The future of Halo, however, is already another major crossroad. In late 2024, a major reconstruction took place at 343 Industries, and they were later rebranded to Halo Studios, a move that they described as the start of a new chapter for the franchise. Part of the problem is that we've heard this like 4 times now, and it is kind of always the same shit. They also confirmed that all future Halo projects will be developed in Unreal Engine 5, leaving their own proprietary Slipspace engine behind. Which kind of sucks because they spent a fuckload of time on
The Slipspace engine was,
specifically for Halo Infinite.
oh my god, the Slipspace engine, modern globally supported industry standard. That's the key right there. Industry standard. whereas the Slipspace engine is a proprietary toolset built specifically for Halo Infinite.
When you try to build a big AAA studio and Microsoft hires 50 million contractors and then replaces them with 50 million more the next year. It's not fair to the fans and the consumers by default, but it's also not really fair to the studio either. And this being the monumental shift that it is, one filled with both incredible promise but also profound risk, it could be a fresh start the series needs to truly unify its fans. Or it could be seen as the final departure from its roots, potentially creating a new division. The potential for further conflict is always there. If there is salt to be had, the Halo community will find it. I'd like to make
I think he's just wrapping up the video now. Yeah, I think he's just wrapping this up.